fact, my wife was with me. In fact, years later, they called me and apologized because they said, sorry, you weren't partying with those guys. But we had a great time at the Brea Improv one night. Some fucking, early on, some girl came out and took her top off at the Brea Improv, and we got in trouble. Doesn't fuck, you know. So I had like a rocky relationship. Oxnard was way out, not Oxnard. Yeah, Oxnard was way out there. Ontario was way out there. Ontario had a fucked up situation. One night I went to do Ontario when I was coked up. They gave me a great opportunity to improv. They go, listen, we're going to start headlining you. I'm like, okay. And they go, your first job is Ontario. You're going to headline on Wednesday and Thursday. You got to do radio on Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. I said, fine. This is in my deep, deep, deep junkie days. Ontario's about an hour 10, an hour 15 from where I was living in Hollywood. And I drive all the way to Ontario fighting the urge to do coke. Like, I'm not doing coke tonight, I'm not doing coke tonight, I'm not doing coke tonight, I'm going to do these 2 shows. It's my first opportunity to headline the improvs. They're going to give me a ton of work after this. The guy likes me. He thinks that there's something to work with from The Longest Yard. I get to Ontario about 10 o'clock at night. I roll my number. I take a walk around the neighborhood, you know, typical shit. And about 11:30, 12 o'clock, I can't do it, guys. I could be honest with you guys. I can't do it. I can't get this monkey off my back. So I called a coke dealer in Hollywood. And I drove all the way to Hollywood an hour 15 and all the way back to Ontario an hour 15. I didn't start snorting coke till 2:30 in the morning. And I bought like an 8-ball. When that phone rang at 7 in the morning for me to do radio, I just picked it up and kept hanging it up. I never showed for radio. I showed up that night and there was maybe like 12 people. They were fucking pissed. Thursday night I had like fucking 18 people. I got the radio Thursday, but the damage was done already. I got the call when they paid me. They're like, listen, you fucked up. And that's it. You're done with the improvs for a while. Go away and come back when you're ready. When you're ready to be a fucking comic. This had to be like 2007. Yeah, early 2007. About 2009, I'm off the coke. I thought I was done with the improvs. Yeah, I was getting some spots at Melrose, but they were not happy with me. And one day, Dan called me from the fucking Brea Improv out of the blue, like the week after fucking New Year's. And he's like, hey, man, I'm thinking of adding some fucking shows, and I want you to do Joey Diaz and Friends R-rated show once a fucking month. We're going to start you with $400 a week a show for a budget. So that means you got to pay 3 other guys and yourself out of $400. So it's $100 a fucking show. They're going to do that for 90 days until you get going. And then after 90 days, you're going to go door deals. So if you sell 10 tickets, you're going to get $10, you know. It was rough, guys. They go, do you want to do it? I was so fucking just like I was getting a second chance. So I said, abso-fucking-lutely. And Dan and I worked this together as a team. You know, he was like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you the mailing list. I'm going to blast them the first 3-4 months for you. It's got like 40,000 names. You know, you should get. First week, I don't know. I probably got 18 people the first time I did it. The second month, we got like 25. The third month, I probably got 30. And then the fourth month, the month that we're on a door deal, I started all over again, like from 8, once he took the mailing list away. So it really taught me how to, like, I did not like social media before then at all. When Dane Cook was being a star, I was like, good for Dane. Good luck to him. If you think I'm going to leave the Comedy Store, well, at that time I wasn't in the store, I go, if you think I'm going to go home after a comedy show and fucking tweet and Facebook people and MySpace, that's not going to fucking happen. But now that I had this job in Brea, I had to learn how to fucking Facebook and tweet quickly. And I I asked Dan, I go, I don't know how to get people in. He goes, well, you have to have funny comedy. He goes, you can have Jesus here, but if you don't program it the right way, if you don't market it the right way, they're never going to come. This is how you figure this out. Take your humps and your lumps now. And guys, I think a year later we were selling out. 400 seats once a fucking month. We were like the number 3 show that Brea had. We went from having nobody. I would fucking put on the stuff like, you know, it's Tuesday night, Lindsay Lohan will be here tonight with a bag of blow. I would just run rampant on fucking Facebook and Twitter. Somebody's going to be down here sucking dick. Nobody ever asked about Lindsay Lohan. Like, people would come and get there, like, I would take a fucking edible cake and put it in the back table. These things became wild. They were fucking known. People were having a great time. I ended up taping my first CD there without even knowing. 2 comics canceled. And I remember telling Lee, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he's like, well, let's tape it. And that was fucking, it's either you or the priest. Unbelievable story, you know. A packed fucking house. Packed. We would have edibles down there and weed, and fucking 20 people would come down and hang out. It was a great experience. But my point was, I'll never forget being at the Melrose Improv, and Bud Friedman was there, and he was like, hey, man, can I talk to you for a second? I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, congratulations. And I felt so fucking good. I go, congratulations for what? For a movie? He goes, no, for what you've done down in Brea. You built it up from scratch. I still remember fucking, I learned a valuable lesson that week down there. There were these people that always came to the show, but I gave them free tickets. And one night, out of the kindness of his heart, Rogan called me. I would never call Joe or ask him to do the room. No. He called me, and he's like, I got to shoot something down there. Do you mind if I stop by? I go, do you mind if I put your name down? He goes, nah, just put my name down. And I'll never forget that those people called and said, hey, man, we need free tickets. And I go, I can't give them to you because they're a Rogan show. And they paid anyway. And that's when I learned that people will pay the $15 for a fucking ticket. You don't have to give them free tickets constantly. They should pay. You built the value. That's when I learned the value of fucking stand-up. And I remember seeing them that night. And I go, oh, you got tickets? And they're like, yeah, but we didn't really want to pay. Well, it's Joe Rogan. You got to fucking pay. I'm doing, and this goes back 2009, 2010, you know. So when Bud said that to me at the Melrose Improv, that's probably the last time I saw Bud. I might have seen Bud one time after that. I think I saw Bud at Maryland's. I don't know. But I saw Bud, because Maryland's Wake would have been 3 years earlier. I saw Bud, and he congratulated me, and it was just a great fucking feeling. So, yeah, I learned comedy from the store, the basics, but I learned how to sell a ticket from Dan at that Brea Improv. So I'm really grateful, and I'm really sorry I don't tell a lot of these improv stories. You know, the hot commodity for me was the Comedy Store, so I didn't want people to sound like, you know, the Improv was my second home. The Laugh Factory started giving me spots after the podcast. Before the podcast, I didn't belong there. But after the podcast and people started selling tickets, then they started giving me, and that's a great club too. I never had nothing against Jamie or anything like that. Anyway, I want to wrap it up with this real quick. I want to talk to you guys about something. Guys, I got locked up. If you guys think that when I got out of prison, listen, before I went to prison, I didn't think I could do anything in my life. And when I got out of prison, I definitely didn't think I could do anything in my life. But you know, you can't be a fucking bum. You can't collect disability. You got to do something. You got to earn your keep. You got to justify your existence. So somewhere along the line, I came up with the idea of trying stand-up comedy and becoming a stand-up comic. It worked for my lifestyle. I was a fucking, I was a renegade. I had a little bit of discipline, but really no discipline, but I was a renegade. I was living, I had no family. no wife. You know, I had a kid that at this point, whatever. But that's the way I ran my life. I was always a renegade. It felt comedy fit my needs at the time.